Yo, what's up, guys? The Insane Game Freak here, Schizomatic here. So if you follow me on Twitter, I apologize in advance. And my Twitter post we're starting off.
Professional, by the way.
Huh?
Professional, by the way.
I'm very unprofessional apparently. I have multiple Twitter posts, but the one I'm specifically referring to is the one where I said, "Oh, the next review is gonna have a huge cast of people on it." That is not the case.
Get baited.
If anything,
life happens.
If anything, we've gotten back to basics unintentionally, I guess.
Yep.
Today we have Richie. Say hi, Richie.
Arrgh. Let's get this movie over with.
Okay, I guess it makes sense in the context of the film. And Tyrone.
Hello, everybody. Tyrone the God 3 here. Welcome back to Pokemon the Caribbean's Temple of the Sea.
Holy shit. The puns already have started, and we haven't even gotten to the plot summary yet. So yeah, TSS had work life things to do, and Polly had a death in the family member. So in the comments, please wish her well wishes. I believe it was her uncle who passed away. So the reason why she's not here is
rest
for that.
In peace.
It's for family, because family is important, as Pokemon has taught us, even if we're not related. In this case, she is related, but you get the point I'm trying to make here, goddammit.
Yep.
So today we're reviewing the final Gen 3 film, which ironically enough, this would have been the most conversation-heavy movie review because we're also going to talk about ranking the Gen 3 films at the end of this and everything. Since this is technically the last Gen 3 film.
That will be fun.
So let's not waste any more time and Tyrone get into the plot summary. Because this one's a doozy, I guess.
All right. Pokemon Ranger and the Temple of the Sea, movie 9. So I'm going to just go briefly on this one because it kind of shares the same formula as the other few movies we've been watching. So I'm just going to hit the bullet points here and not go detail to detail. Long story short, there is legend of a sacred Pokemon for the Temple of the Sea, known as Samira. I'm gonna call it Samira.
I think it's Samira.
Yeah, and with that, there's a legend of a Pokemon that exists within an egg, in which all the Pokemon are of the sea are guided by it because it's like their guardian, and because of that, we end up cutting to a moment where we're introduced to the Pokemon Ranger, a neat little gimmick that died somewhere around Gen 4.
Yeah,
I want to say around, it died somewhere around Gen 4. It's a ranger, basically. Essentially, I like to think of them as like advanced police officers who borrow Pokemon in order to help them out with their endeavors. So we've got Pokemon Ranger Jackie, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
his name is like Jack, but he's like, you can call me Jackie or something along those lines.
Okay, so his name is Pokemon Ranger Jack, and he's off in order to stop and foil this evil pirate known as Phantom, and he is accompanied by a Chatot. We're going to get introduced to a lot of Gen 4 Pokemon around this time, too.
Which is weird, because the last film was like that, actually.
Yeah, when we see that he foiled his plans in the start of the movie, we cut to our heroes who have voice changes. Yay!
If you're watching dub.
Yeah, if you're watching the dub, they have voice changes, unfortunately. But we see here that they are dying of the heat, and they run into a circus of water Pokemon and water Pokemon trainers known as the People of the Sea. Well, when meeting the People of the Sea, May gets introduced to the People of the Sea, where they're carrying a egg. And the egg reacts to May, and obviously it hatches into Manaphy, and the two have a very close bond. And the Pokemon Ranger Jack shows up during his one of his missions to meet up with our heroes. When this happens, however, Pokemon Ranger Jack actually has a mission to escort Manaphy over to the Temple of the Sea so that they can protect it. Well, obviously, this involves our heroes now because Manaphy has a mother-daughter-like bond with May. Well, and they also need to protect Manaphy from Phantom, which is the pirate that's going off to go, obtain Manaphy so he can unlock the treasures of the Temple of the Sea. And Samira. I'll call it Tamira. And because of this, our heroes go off and they're on basically a fetch quest to get Manaphy over to the Temple of the Sea before Phantom gets to Manaphy, and the chase is on, and May is along with because she's like the mother in this situation. It even gets to a point where Pokemon Ranger Jack gets to Ash and tells him he's going to try to need to split May and Manaphy up because the bond between them is so close that it would be hard for May to let Manaphy go. After this point, we run into conflicts with Phantom and his crew. Ash and the others try to confront them at the Temple of the Sea. We get this weird scene where Ash goes all Super Saiyan. I wish I was kidding. But no, he ends up getting powers from the temple. Kyogre shows up, hi and bye. And then they basically, long story short, they foil Phantom's plans. And because of this, May's bond with Manaphy grows. She gives Manaphy like a scarf, like her scarf, which is basically her bandana.
I don't think she gives it to her. I think it's... Remember, that was the whole...
she holds it for the movie.
Yeah, because I think she loses it somewhere in the middle of the film, and there's like that whole plot point where Manaphy went to go get it, but they thought it ran away, and it kind of led into the final act of the film. But
so pretty much the movie ends with May coming into solace with the fact that she has to let Manaphy go. Manaphy says "I love you," which doesn't freak a bunch of people out in the theaters like it did with Pikachu. And
that's spoilers.
How dare you?
And that's pretty much it. May grows as a person in this movie, and they're basically off at that point. Oh, we get a lot of cameos.
Actually, ironically enough, I think you see in the the intro where they do the whole Pokemon world. Is that like, I feel like that is a very specialized intro for this film, because
it is. You can see Attila and Hun in that one.
You can
Attila and Hun.
You also see Brendan again.
Yeah,
and I think you see the girl from movie 7.
Yes, I believe so. But yeah, it's basically a May growth movie.
Yeah.
Yawn.
I don't know how. This is probably one of the weirder films I've watched of the Gen 3 films. In some ways, I think it's better than the 6 films. In some ways, I think it's worse. It's a.
This movie was a super toss up to me.
Yeah, it's such a weird film. You know what I feel really bad about?
What?
There's a bunch of Poliwhirl and Politoed in the beginning of the film, and and literally as I'm watching the film, I'm like, Polly's probably freaking out, and then I went, and then of course I get the Discord message about why she can't make it, and I'm like,
feels bad, man.
Damn it, I can't make the joke now because it doesn't work. This is besides the point.
No.
This is just a weird fucking film.
So who wants to go first?
I'll just say this: I've seen it before. That's all I gotta say. In terms of like the idea of the movie.
The core idea is literally
so many times, so it doesn't like I'm not.
Karen Trooper Friend's mythical Pokemon has to go from one spot to another with said mythical Pokemon. Villains trying to chase mythical Pokemon. Plot. Yeah, this happened before. It's called Jirachi.
I think we just need to get out of the way. This movie is essentially the 6th film.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of premise, the premise is literally the same. Although I argue that this film, like I've said before, I think does certain things better and worse than the other film. I guess where we want to fucking start. I think let's start off small and then get bigger. What did you guys think about the side characters that we got for this film? The family that we were.
The people of the water.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're interesting. I mean, they're different. They kind of, and I guess it's because of the way I watched it the first time I saw it. They kind of give off the wrong impression, though, that May is supposed to be one of these people of the water, though. When I don't think she is. I think she just happened to come across Manaphy when it was hatching.
I'm pretty sure that was a gimmick, but
I don't think that's what they hinted to. I mean, because she has the dream because Manaphy and her connects, and then they explain to her the people of the water, but they never admit that they're the people of the water until after the Manaphy shit's exposed and Team Rocket is being dickheads like they always are.
I'd like to note that one of the people of the water's names is Ship. There you go. His name is Ship.
I also think this movie has a lot of weird shit in it. Like for example, when they get the boat and they start traveling by boat, you meet the grandpa's old friends. And you have this weird thing where, like, kids, we have to leave you behind because it's getting way too dangerous and we don't want to get you involved. And the old guys are like, you're only young once. Yeah.
All right.
This is the smell of adventure. Like it's supposed to be an inspirational thing to get them.
Kill the kids.
But it's like this weird. But the way it's done, it's like, well, we literally just met you guys like a few minutes ago. Like not even a minute ago.
Like Ash and Co's involvement in the plot is strictly because Manaphy likes May. That's it.
And that is actually what it is. I guess some of the humorous scenes with Heart Swap were kind of interesting in a weird way. We only see it like twice, I think, which is with Team Rocket.
And the other time wasn't even funny. It was just an emotional thing.
It's an emotional thing. It's like, oh, how do I get back? How do I get May here? Oh, let's swap Ash and Jackie because that makes sense. Actually, wouldn't it have made more sense to swap May and Jackie, considering that's who Manaphy wants? And then the other thing,
I have no idea.
The only other thing that kind of confused me is Manaphy supposed to be a boy or a girl, because they refer to him in the film as the Prince of the Sea. And then I do remember, it doesn't Manaphy. I don't think Manaphy itself has there's a Pokemon
Manaphy
that's like literally.
Wait.
I thought it had a gender.
I don't think Manaphy has a gender. I think the problem, though, the biggest problem with this movie is that Phony exists.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is Phony supposed to be the female Manaphy, or am I misinterpreting it?
But the problem is that this movie was also, and we should probably go into a little bit of backstory. This movie was made to promote the game Pokemon Rangers, a new spin-off game that Pokemon had that involved you using the Pokemon Rangers in order to team up with Pokemon in order to stop crisis, like forest fires and crap, stuff like that. Just they were like the firefighters of Pokemon. But like the problem with this is that the game had a promotion where if you buy the game and beat it in its entirety, you get Manaphy's egg, which you can transfer over to Pokemon Diamond and Pearl when it came out, and it would hatch into Manaphy. The problem, though, is that Phony exists within the game as well, and Manaphy can breed with a Ditto to make a Phony, but Phony will never evolve into Manaphy, and I'm not really sure why.
We to be fair, we've slightly gone into a tangent. I think I can tell you my main issue with this film. And all of its good story beats, I think go by too fucking quick.
Yeah.
Like to give you an example, the sequence in which Ash and Jackie are talking about how they need to separate Manaphy and May. Like, it's not like one of those subtle things. Well, it starts off subtle where May happens upon them in the mid-conversation. But instead of drawing it out a little bit, May immediately walks into the room and goes, "I'll be fine. Everything's fine." And then, like, immediately after, she runs away, and then she meets the daughter what's her name? I forget the daughter's name. Runs to the daughter, and then ends up crying in her arms. And, like, all those beats are fine, but they come so quick. It's like you took, like, what's supposed to...
Isn't it Elizabeth?
Yeah, Elizabeth. They take the sequence and it's squished down in terms of how fast it's going, so it feels like it's paced out too quickly. And then you have like this weird dead section where May's actively avoiding Manaphy, but Manaphy doesn't know this. So it's like this weird, and I don't understand the point of it, because it really boils down to she loses her scarf, Manaphy gets their scarf, they go to find Manaphy, and May's having this kind of emotional breakdown thinking the reason why it left is because she was ignoring it, and then they end up still hanging together anyway. So what it's such a weird fucking film. I don't even know how to describe my feelings. Like, I finished the film and I was kind of like, I don't know where I'm at in this film. Like, honestly, it's such a toss-up.
Right, I agree. I'll just say this. It's one of those movies that you grab your friends around and you're just like, "Hey, let's laugh at the ridiculous shit that they show in this movie." So it's one of those movies for me.
What can we? What about? Okay, well let's talk since it's made to promote it. Let's talk about Jackie and Phantom, since they are kind of the selling points of the film, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are our thoughts on Jackie? Because to me, Jackie is like I'm
split on him.
He's such a
he's a
character,
nice
but he's entertaining. That's the problem.
Yeah. I like his theme song when he comes in to do stuff.
I love the song.
Yeah, that's a really good song. They use it in Diamond and Pearl.
He's not. It's not like he's incompetent. It's just
Yeah, he's a good ranger. I think the problem is we got scenes where he seriously wants Ash to split Manaphy and May up.
We got one scene. That's what we got.
Well, yeah, that one scene. And then he just continues the rest of the movie as himself, and I'm just like, that was weird.
Well, even the whole Ash getting kind of pumped by getting like inspired from Jackie, because Jackie tells his backstory in the movie. His backstory is insanely basic. Like, it's the whole, I got trapped in a mountain, I was freezing to death, and then a bunch of Pokemon came and huddled against me so I didn't die
so I
freezing.
vowed to help Pokemon.
And it's like, that is so base level. Like, how does that translate to being a ranger? Like, specifically.
I mean, well, I guess he's saying Pokemon helped me, I helped them.
I guess. It was one of those things.
It's a stretch.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I was like, I'm watching it and I'm like, I like you, you're entertaining, but I don't think you're well written, and I'm conflicted about if he's good or not.
I debatably think, and I know this is going to sound weird to say this, but I debatably feel like Jackie wasn't absolutely necessary for this movie. I feel like he was there. I feel like he was tacked on here specifically so they could promote the game. Well, because the title is Pokemon Ranger and the Temple of the Sea.
But the premise, they're
promoting the Pokemon Ranger.
But the film is more focused about the Temple and the Sea than the Ranger. It's just that Jackie is there.
Right. His mission just happens to be do this. And our heroes are involved because Manaphy. But I feel like there could have been the same moment where the people of the sea wanted to like take Manaphy over to the temple to pay their respects or something, since they're one with the sea or something. And Ash and the others just could have been involved because Manaphy likes Meg.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't feel like Jackie, he was specifically necessary for this part, because I know good and well Ash and the others having more than enough competence to defeat Phantom, or at least fight him off.
Well, and they acted like he was way more of a. And to be fair, they did show Phantom being threatening, but they also showed him as like a cartoonish villain.
Yeah.
But like in certain sequences, like when he makes it to the temple next to Ash, May, Elizabeth, and Brock and Max and shit, they're like, get back. Like, Elizabeth's like, get back. He's dangerous. And I'm like, that's debatable, because he's not consistently portrayed to be dangerous. He's more portrayed to be like a weird mix in the middle. And then like the weird reveal at the end of it when they throw the stupid pillar on him and you find out he's wearing like limb enhancers. It's not that relevant, because the only thing he ever does that's considered superhuman is when he lifts the boulder, which is more of a comedic thing than anything. So it's like, and once again, the Phantom is entertaining. He's not deep by any means. He's not complex by any means, but he is entertaining. So I'm like,
he's interesting in the fact that we have, for the first time in a while, we've had an actual villain in a Pokemon movie rather than just like
a dickheaded Pokemon or
something, or
a
like a machine, a machine overloaded, or a tree got sick.
Yeah.
So like,
that's for sure.
Like I said, it's like it seems like the whole theme of this film is like you make step. It's almost like one step. It's like two steps forward, one step back. So it's kind of hard to give you any real credit for it. That's kind of my thought process with this whole film. And I guess the biggest thing we probably need to address is the May and Manaphy dynamic, period.
I'm a little biased because May is my favorite.
I like May, and that's why, because the movie still caught me in my emotions by the end of it.
Yeah,
so I can't sit here and say that the film didn't do what it was supposed to do.
You'll go ahead first, Terrell, and then I'll say my thing about May.
I'm not overly... How do I put this? May's, I think because her personality that seemed kind of off, and to be fair, to give the movie credit, it wasn't like she started off the film that way. The beginning of the film, it was kind of like they did with Ash and with Lucario's film, where he was having connections with the staff because he wore Sir Ann's outfit and that kind of stuff. Did the same thing with May, having visions, because she was like psychically connecting to the egg and everything. And even when Manaphy first hatched, it wasn't like May was overly attached. May was like what was it? They finally calmed it down when it was crying. He tried to hand it off to Elizabeth's mother. It started bawling again. So she kind of adopted this mother-like persona. And it's not like May never had it, because the way she acts with Max fluctuates. Like one of the moments I liked in movie 6 is her mother-like moments with Max.
Yeah.
But it's so overbearing in this film that it doesn't feel genuine, because that's not May's entire personality. Like, I will admit it's a part of it, which is why it's not too far-fetched to see her act this way. But it's so much of a focus, it kind of degrades her character in a way. Not like demeans it, but it like... Because it's not the same May to me. It's not like the whole same May. It's like we got a portion. We took part of May's personality, we blew it out for a film.
Yeah,
and then there we go.
I'm saying, well, so basically, if I were to try to put it in a perspective, or at least what you just said in perspective, basically, when May is naturally trying to be a mother-like figure in the series, it comes off better than one that's forced like this, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it's not like the whole.
Because in this movie, it's forced because she's forced with the situation of egg hatched, and I was the first person it saw, so I have to take care of it by default. Versus, when Max is like needing to go to sleep, so May does something that her mother did in order to aid the situation. Like, one came naturally, the other one was forced conditions.
Yeah, and it kind of typecasted her, so she was like that the whole film. The whole film, she was like that.
Right.
And she's never real. And it's funny because she has she has a baby Squirtle in the anime.
Yeah, this is during Battle Frontier.
So it wasn't like I wasn't used to seeing May be motherly, but this was, I guess, because it was over. This movie's almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
I think this is one of the longer films we've watched so far.
Unbearable.
And I wouldn't say unbearable, but it does grate on you.
It's kind of harsh.
It grades on you after a while. But
well, I'm saying that in the sense of.
But I want to give Tyrone a chance to speak his thoughts.
Yeah, because here's my thing, and this is one of the biggest issues I have with the fact that it is a May movie. And granted, I love the idea that May got her movie. I would have been a little upset if all these people, with the exception of Brock, all these people got their own movies.
All these people, not you. All these people.
Yeah, I got a movie, but May was sort of left out in favor of freaking, I don't know, Deoxys. But the problem I have with this is because for a May movie, there sure are a lot of other people-ass moments. Like Jack. He gets a lot of moments because the movie is supposed to promote his video game. Then Ash gets this huge moment where he has to like put the crystal into the last slot.
As always.
And he gets this superhero moment where May just has no choice but to sit in this capsule with Pikachu and Manaphy. So, like, it's so weird to say this is a May movie, and then Ash is the one that's doing, like, the superhero shit.
To be
so
fair,
you're saying he's a cockblock.
You can make the same argument for Jirachi, because he does similar shit there.
Well, yeah, but it's very clear that it's more Max's movie because he's involved the entire time.
Right.
Like, Max and Ash were on Flygon for the rescue scene. Here, May's just like, this is my movie, but I'll just chill in this little capsule and pray that Ash is okay. Like, what? This is supposed to be your movie, bitch. You're supposed to be the one out there.
And to be fair, it's not like we dislike. Like, I like that Ash moment. I think it's a good Ash moment.
It's a cool moment, but it's not his movie.
So you're saying it's not. So
your issue is more towards the fact that it has too much focus on other characters, considering how May.
Yeah, it's a great scene, and it's even got a great song. The "As Long as I Hold My Breath," which is one of the greatest freaking songs. This OST is fire. I'm not gonna lie. The movie's OST is the shit.
I mean, the movie looks great. Don't want to slight the movie. The movie looks great too.
All the environments were good.
Yeah. Especially because they're showing off like the whole the ocean aspect, which always looks good in Pokemon. But great Ash moment, great music, not Ash's movie though. So it kind of falls flat.
So you're saying it wasn't necessary?
I'm not saying it wasn't necessary. It's just, I don't know. I wish they could have found a way to make May do something while Ash was doing that. Because praying for Ash's safety in her movie just seems weird to me. Especially considering the fact that this is supposed to be their last movie. This is May's last movie appearance. And I really want to see her grow as a character from the girl who got hit with a water gun by Mudkip to somebody. And just sitting in a pod waiting for Ash to do the work isn't good to me. It's just not. Like they could have had May and Manaphy do something else while Ash was doing the other thing.
I guess the main thing is that it went the default cute route instead of trying to be a little bit more dynamic, because May could have still been the mother but still have her have harsher moments. Like maybe Manaphy does some shit that Manaphy isn't supposed to be doing and May scolds it for it. It's just something to change the dynamic, because she's literally the same like mommy, like really sweet mommy the whole film. It actually goes from being like, oh, it's cute to, oh my god, I have fucking diabetes now. Like it's such a it's just an uptick on the cuteness and not like and it's not dynamic. And like I said before, even the other scenes with some of the other characters, they're so, for some reason they're good, but they're so quick and they're not like given time to be fleshed out. Which is crazy because it's a film that's almost 2 hours and has a lot of weird shit in it. Like the Super Saiyan moment in it.
Yeah, the other weird part about it is that May is not a girly girl by any means. She has tomboyish moments. So to see this made me very upset, because it's like, I know May. I know she can do better than this. And if this is her movie, I'm not impressed. Because I'm like, yeah, they gave her what she needed, was spotlight, but they didn't give her the right spotlight. They gave her the spotlight in the sense that I'll be the one to hold Manaphy, but you're more than just a Misty holding Togepi. You're May. Act like it. Like this is a May that one time, like when her Pokemon were in danger, she did go out and run off and chase Team Rocket's balloon down. Like, she did that shit. She did. She's basically female Ash, and it bugs me that they still had to push her aside for actual Ash.
I think the best way to describe it is this: they took a spotlight and only showed May in contest and didn't show May in the dirt training with her Skitty or Beautifly or whatever. Yeah. Like, they only showed a part of May, not all of May, which is why the movie does, like, May's portions in it, although are nice and sweet in some moments, don't feel genuine, because we know that's not all May is. So it feels kind of half-hearted in a way.
Yes.
It's just a weird fucking film.
Right. Like, and I think like one of the faults is that they were trying to promote a game inside the movie, because above anything else, they still have to promote things while they're doing the movie.
Yeah, this is a business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a business. That's why Marshall's awkwardly in one of the other movies.
We don't talk about.
But we'll get to that. Yeah, I would say we'll get to that when we get to that. I'm just saying.
So bad.
Richie, I wanted to give you some time to voice your thoughts and opinions on everything, because me and Tyrone have kind of been going back and forth for a while now.
I got a little bit, but all right. So a little bit of controversy just ahead of time. And I wasn't very intending on going down this rabbit hole, but after hearing that the last few minutes, I figured I might as well just get this out of the way. I feel like some, how do I put this? Some feminists that may watch this movie as like, I feel like that whole idea about May being pushed out for Ash's heroics may be looked at as like some sort of not necessarily violent, but more so of
offensive.
Not, I would say more of a sexist. This
vibe. Is not what I expected.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you right there, Richie, because I think I know where you're going, and I think, well, at this point, like, because I don't want to dig too deep in this,
Yeah.
but I think this was at a point though where the feminism wasn't as I want to say as powerful as it is now. It's a lot more powerful now than it was back in like 2008. so I don't think we can fault the movie on feminist offensive terms.
Let him explain.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to say it's the movie's fault or anything, but I'm just saying that if this movie were to come out during the time in which that movement was on the top, then I feel like this part of the movie probably would have been scrutinized based on what we saw, in the sense that, you know, oh, this was supposed to be a moment for the female, but no, the male gets the spotlight, and
we got two men over here doing the work that
yeah. So I just thought it was kind of a little bit of an interesting way to look at it. But as far as the other, actually, let me ask you guys this. As far as the villain, do you think, do you guys take him seriously or no?
I don't think he's meant to be taken all the way seriously.
I took him as a threat when the time came for him to be threatening, but I feel like
he was dynamic enough that I could take him both ways.
He's the Dr. Eggman of Pokemon, if that makes any sense to me.
Much. That's a good representation.
Yeah, I always thought like Dr. Eggman obviously is silly, but when the time need be and the plot thickens, he gets more dangerous too.
Right, because that's what I was thinking as well.
So,
also,
I want to call those what are those plot-driven characters?
Yeah,
sounds about right.
Yeah. When the plot thickens, they become more of their evil self.
I would say my issue wasn't even with the Phantom at all. I didn't have any issues with Phantom. I don't have really many issues with Jackie, all things considered. I'm
pretty cool with him too.
I think the biggest issue is primarily probably just May.
I don't really have a problem with Jackie, by the way.
I think it's just May.
Yeah.
No. All I'm saying is that I don't really have a problem with him. I do agree that he could have been written a little bit better, but I feel like even if he was, I don't think it would have changed my opinion a whole lot about him.
I feel like if he had been written better, the movie would have been more or less. The movie should have. They should have just went ahead and made the movie about him if they were going to go that route.
I don't think the problem is. Right. I think the problem with me is just May. I think May is the problem.
Yeah. That's what I meant, because I felt like even if Jack, because you know I prefer Jack over Jackie anyways.
I call him either or.
Yeah. So anyways, that's why I mentioned that even if Jack's character was written better, I felt like there was still other problems you could have pointed at the movie and be like, well, shit, his writing has improved, but the other areas didn't get improved so much. So, I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I don't know where I sit with this film, honestly.
I agree with you, Terrell. I say May is the main problem, and the sad part is the reason May is the real problem here is because it's her movie. So there's some expectations I feel like she needed to meet, and she failed to meet them.
I think it's because she acts the same way the whole film. I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
She's the same. She literally acts the same the whole way. Like, I guess to compare it with Max and Jirachi. Max and Jirachi were cool, but like Max and Jirachi also fluctuated from having like I don't even know how to describe this right, because it wasn't like they didn't do fun scenes with May and Manaphy, but they were, I guess because they all had this weird mama connotation with them. It's different than like Max's and Jirachi's like friendship, whereas Manaphy and May was like this weird mother-son situation, but it wasn't like the full experience. There was like you were and
I also feel like May had to wrestle her character development with Jack and Ash and Phantom and this entire Temple of the Sea plot, where Max's plot was literally his days are numbered. We need to send Jirachi home. So it focused on Max slowly getting to where he needs to be, slowly dealing with the fact that he has to part with Jirachi. And the movie has to take time to acknowledge it, because that's the plot of the movie. The plot of the movie here is getting Manaphy home while also dealing with Phantom, while also dealing with Jack, while also dealing with our heroes, while also dealing with the people of the sea. It's just too much.
So what you're saying is they had too much on their plate, and they just
you're saying the movie's bloated.
Yeah, the movie has so much it has to fight off as well,
Makes
where
sense.
it doesn't
I
really
agree.
have the time to deal with
You know what
Manaphy's
you know what the
character
core problem
development.
is that Manaphy seems to fluctuate between being the main focus and the side focus.
Yeah,
The
and where
main focus, it's the main focus when it's the egg because you need Manaphy to lead you to the Temple of the Sea. Once Manaphy is out of the egg and they're already going to the Temple of the Sea, well then Phantom isn't really concerned. Also because Phantom's goal isn't Manaphy. Phantom's goal is the goddamn crown.
the treasure.
That's why it's a
Yeah.
weird sequence towards the end when Phantom shows up in the temple and he kind of doesn't give a shit about the kids. It's just more of like, hey, you can watch. I'm gonna just steal this crown. That's all I'm doing. And it's like that. It doesn't work because like in every other film, the Pokemon is the MacGuffin that the villain wants. Whereas
this one.
and to me it's kind of refreshing in some ways, but at the same time it also makes things feel kind of disjointed when you realize Phantom doesn't really care about Manaphy unless the plot needs him to care. That's why towards the end of the film, once they put the crystals back and everything, and in the temple spot, then he wants to steal Manaphy. So he's like, "Well, I need to come back here, but I can't come back here right now. So if I have Manaphy, I can always come back here later." And so then he steals Manaphy. Well, I'm like,
Right.
it doesn't feel. I know why. It makes sense. I know why he's doing it. I get it. The movie explained to me why he now would be concerned with it. It just feels disjointed where sometimes he cares and sometimes he doesn't because of how the plot's written. The plot's written where he doesn't need to care about Manaphy all the time. He only needs to care about Manaphy up to a certain point in the plot, and then he can stop caring. And I guess the kicker is if he had, like, when he stopped caring about Manaphy, if that was it, and he didn't switch back at the end of the film, it wouldn't feel jarring. But it feels jarring because it's like, I think he stopped caring about Manaphy pretty much after the portion when they were tracking them on the boat. After they were tracking on the boat, at that point he was like, well, I'm gonna just follow them until they get to the temple. And then they get to the temple, you run into them, still don't give a shit. I got my crystals, I'm stealing the crystals, I'm causing the temple to sink. Still don't give a shit about Manaphy. Doing all this shit against Jackie, still don't give a shit. I'm escaping because the temple's sinking, I still don't give a shit. And then when Ash
Kyogre's there.
Yeah, and then Ash fixes the temple.
Yeah,
Ash fixes the temple, and the temple starts floating up again. Now I give a shit. It's like this weird. I don't know.
Yeah, if I get you, his clear focus was not on Manaphy at this point. Now it's on Manaphy. It's more or less because he needs Manaphy for said thing, but now it's become a whole. You've ignored the Pokemon MacGuffin this long. It feels weird to just suddenly shift to it.
Whereas,
I said,
where it was like in the other films, the whole movie revolved around the character because the Pokemon in question could do something. Manaphy,
like even Celebi in Movie Forever.
Yeah, Manaphy's purpose is just to get to the temple. The only ability that Manaphy has that's somewhat otherworldly is the heart swap ability, which is just a weird excuse to do body switching gags and shit, which they only do twice in the film, one of which is used for an emotional moment. So it's like, Manaphy by itself isn't important. It's literally just because of its, because it has the sense to go into the right direction.
It's essentially they're carrying a giant key.
Yeah, and to give Manaphy credit, I don't really have any issue with Manaphy by itself.
No, I don't either.
I think he does what he needs to do. He has a lot of fucking cute moments.
Yeah, I think
he even has some. No, I wouldn't say badass, but he has some funny moments when he's right on top of the Kyogre. And the Kyogre runs over and blows up the fucking ship. I don't know why that's funny to me. It's like putting a Pichu on top of a warlord. It's just a funny image to me. This movie's fucking weird, man.
I think, and there's two different versions of me watching this movie. The me that watched it when it first came out on Cartoon Network, and the me now. I think back then the me was that watched it on Cartoon Network was over Manaphy. And it wasn't Manaphy's fault. It's just unfortunately I was starting. I think this is me personally. I was starting to learn the gimmick of Pokemon, where it's Mew, Celebi, Jirachi, Manaphy,
cute.
Little tiny fairy-esque mythical Pokemon. So by the time Manaphy showed up, as a kid, I literally went, "This is the water Celebi, isn't it?" And I was over it. I was over Manaphy.
You know, that's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that because when I was around that age, that's what I kind of thought too. I'm just like, wait a minute, is this Mew's fifth child or something?
Yeah, so I was over Manaphy. It's not its fault. It's just I was kind of done with like the whole baby Pokemon with special power they gotta take plot line. But looking at it now, I judge Manaphy on its own standards, and I gotta say I've warmed up to it a little bit more now than back then. Back then I had and I want to say I guess a back burner hatred against this Pokemon. And even to this day, it has a weird running joke of me never being able to get it because I never can go to a Nintendo event to get this damn thing, or I'm too late for it. But that's another story.
Nah.
So Manaphy always was like this Pokemon to me that just was like I'm over it Pokemon, but I've grown to like love it now. Well, not love it, but appreciate it. I tolerate it now more than back then.
Okay, I think we've pretty much hit all the key points. The only other thing we could really mention is Team Rocket, which
I like their throw forwards to Gen 4. I like their call outs to Gen 4.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it
also,
too.
like, I do find it funny we're still doing the running gag of, hey, look, the Bleasel's here. I wonder why this is relevant. Oh, because Ash gets a Well, technically, Dawn and Ash get a Bleasel in Gen 4.
Like, Dawn gets the first event, Ash gets
trades it.
Yeah,
trades it.
Yeah, he trades it. So there's still, I don't know if that's intentional or if that was just random. That they keep doing that thing where they have...
I guess at the time
because they did it.
They did it with Apom.
No. Yeah, they did it with Munchlax,
and they did it with Apom earlier in the films. It's just a weird fucking. I don't know. I don't know if that's intentional. It's just a weird thing we've noticed as fans.
Probably just gives them ideas for what the team's gonna be next time.
Yeah. There's not a lot I can say about Team Rocket. They're integrated as well as they could be. I don't really have any issues with them. I just don't care, I guess, is my thought process.
Yeah, that's my position as well. I mean, that's why I said they're just there.
So with that's we're gonna rate this movie, and then we're gonna rate all the Gen 3 films.
Actually, can I throw in something?
Go ahead.
Just like a small question. In terms of like the cute and I guess emotional moments of this movie, on like not necessarily a scale of 1 through 10, but what's the word I'm thinking? What did you think about those scenes? Like when you saw like a
how would we rank the emotional moments in this film out of 10?
Yeah. Before we actually get to the actual rating.
A 5.
Really?
They're okay.
I probably would say a 7. Some of them got
a 7.
A 7. I like to hear why.
Some of them got to me more than I thought they would. I think the two that are the most that hit me the most is probably when they go out to find Manaphy and May's having kind of a panic attack because she thinks the reason why Manaphy left is because she was ignoring it, and you can see the visual pain. I'll give that. They gave May some really emotional faces in this film. I think that sequence fucked with me, and probably the final sequence. I actually think her final line in the film is really good, which is when Max goes, "Are you okay?"
I love you.
No, not that. When Max goes, "Are you okay, man?" She goes, "I'm not, but I will be." I think that's a good.
Yeah, that's good. That's a nice scene.
That's a good line. It's a good scene. The "I love you" thing fucked with me too. That's why I give it a 7. That's why I said I give it a 7. I give it a 7 because I did get caught up on at least a few of those moments. There's too many in here for me not to get caught up on at least a few of them, and it just happened to be some of the better ones in my opinion. So that's why I give it a 7.
I'm gonna make this real quick before we get to the main pie of this. I guess a 5.5 for me. It's literally the same position as Tyrone. I'm just like, but they are nice scenes. But in terms of like reacting to it, I was just like, okay. I mean, it's a nice scene.
I've seen Misty bombard these scenes too many times, so I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Misty and Togepi.
So I guess now we rate the film.
Yep.
Tyrone, you go first.
I'll get this movie a 7. It looks nice. The soundtrack is what's really giving it the score. Sorry, I love the
Really?
music. Yeah, I
By
love
how
the
much?
music.
By
The
how much?
music is bomb. Oh God, man, the music in this movie is so good. It made me even tolerate one of Dawn's fights. The one where Dawn fights off against what's her name? What's that? The one Zoe? Yeah, she fights Zoe, and they play As Long As I Hold My Breath. And I'm like, this is the shit. I love this song. I love this movie because of this song. And I love the song where like it's called Firo, I think. But it's where Ranger Jack catches Firo in order to stop one of the villains or something. Just
It
this
pops the
movie has
balloons for
really
Team Rocket's thing when they steal the
yeah.
egg.
Yeah, he stops. Yeah, so this movie has really great music. Its environment looks beautiful. They focused a lot on the ocean aspect, so we got to see the water used really well here. So we see Manaphy playing with Pokemon underwater. Visually, it's gorgeous. So the music and basically the aesthetic half of the movie is its powerful thing that it's got going for it. The plot, it's a fetch quest plot, so it's been done to death. Especially like this movie's basically a carbon copy of Max's movie, unfortunately to me, which is why its score doesn't get any higher than a 7. And it's also just May didn't live up to what the May I'm in love with knows. Like I love May as a character, but she doesn't live up to May expectations. If that makes any sense to anybody.
I get you.
Yeah, so
I,
7. I'll give it a 7. The only reason it's not lower is because, like I said, that goddamn soundtrack.
I'll go next, and then I'll let Richie finish off that portion of it anyway. I'm probably about it at the 7 too. Not for the same reasons, but but not all for the same reasons. I think I give this movie more credit on its emotional scenes because some of them are really good. It's just that, like Tyrone said, they're not the best representation of May as a character. I mean, if you're talking like, I almost look at this May as a variation on May for a movie. That's what it feels like. The setting's nice. The villain's entertaining. If we're talking about like villains for the sake of being villains, he's way better than movie 2's villain. Just in terms of like enjoyment from watching him kind of thing. He's at least a villain I can get a kick out of watching to some degree. I do like the stuff with Ash and the Pokemon Ranger. Even if the sequence does undermine May a little bit, I do like the sequence at the end. This movie has a bunch of stupid shit in it, and we complained about it. That's why I'm not going too much over it in this. It looks good. I actually think it's one of the better representations of Hoenn in general, with the whole land focus in the beginning and then sea focus on the second half.
Too much water. 7.5 out of 10.
Please don't. It's nowhere near what I would consider perfect, and I don't think it's the best May movie we could have gotten. But
side note, I want to say this is Kyogre's weirdest appearance.
It is Kyogre, but hey, it's better than being a weird half fusion monster like fucking.
Yeah, I was like, Groudon didn't even show up. Yeah.
Groudon got this weird fucking. He shows up in the opening.
Tentacle.
Yeah, he shows up in the opening of the anime, and that's it. That's all he gets.
Yep.
It's a fine movie. I would say if you're gonna watch it, if you've seen movie 6, put it this way, if you've seen movie 6 recently, you don't really need to watch this film. And I like this film for its own merits, but it feels really jarring, especially for us who only saw the 6th film, like, what was that, like a month ago?
Yeah.
It was like a month or so ago we watched the 6th film, so it just feels more redundant for us. It's okay. It's okay. Richie?
I give it about like a 6. Like, I feel like this movie could have had potential to be better, but to me, this movie just feels too familiar. With the main idea, of course, being the whole, Pokemon character has a relationship with this small, cute little Pokemon, or mythical, I should say, which, as we just literally talked about, movie 6 was the same shit, and movie 9 is sort of that, but except it's with water. The climax I thought was a little bit weird, especially with the whole fandom thing, but I guess it's whatever because, I mean, like I'm a little bit close to say it's bad, but just because pirates, like to steal treasure, I mean, you would expect that from a pirate anyways, so it's not like out out the realm. But yeah, anyways, it was a weird climax. I do agree with Tyrone in the sense that good music helps me tolerate bad movies in general, but I'm not saying this one is bad. Or actually, in this case, a movie that I could just easily turn off and watch another one, but the music is like the soothing. It's soothing enough to the point where it helps me tolerate some of the things in it a little bit. So you were saying? Oh, I thought you were saying
No,
something.
no,
Okay,
you're
so,
no, no, you're
No,
good.
no, you're
Yeah,
just
you're
on
oh
the
no,
floor.
oh no, I thought I heard something. Anyways, so basically I give it a 6. One of my biggest pros is the music. I think I'm a little bit biased for music at this point, but I blame Miyazaki for that. Um, I mean, some of the scenes were a little bit emotional, but I don't think I don't think I back then I kind of react to it kind of the way everyone else did, in the sense that I kind of I'm kind of like shit. This kind of got me, but now I'm just like, I mean, it's a nice scene. That's all there is to it. Um, and the whole Ash thing I kind of didn't like, but then again, that's something you would expect anyways. But still, that doesn't mean you can't get too uptight about it. But anyways, I give it a 6. Movie was all right. I don't really recommend watching it, but if you want to, be my guest. But I would just put your expectations low for this one. That's all I would put for it.
Okay, so we have now reviewed all the Gen 3 films. So we have 2 rankings to do. The first
So
ranking is
bye bye, Man Max.
so the first
Bye
thing we need to do
bye.
is rank the Gen 3 films in order of favorite to least favorite, between which is movies 6 through 9. Um, Tyrone, you can go first because honestly, I'm still conflicted about where I would place
Yay! I wrote my list while Richie was talking.
because I have no fucking. I'm conflicted, honestly.
So I'm going from 4 to 1, 4 being the worst, 1 being the greatest. I'll briefly discuss why. Number 4 spot is movie 7.
Knew it.
Destiny
Mhm.
Deoxys, the worst of all of them. I did not like just the overall. Looking back at it now, I didn't even mention this, I think, in the review, but it's flooded with a lot of characters. And yes, those characters all do try to contribute something, but it's just flooded with so many characters that I have to remember. Like out of all the movies, I think this movie I had the hardest time remembering the cast because there was just so much cast. And it was hard for me to focus on the main cast when you've got a whole series of people, and then there's Deoxys and that whole thing, which was handled poorly. In the number 3 spot, we've got movie 9. Movie 9 was that's this movie, and it just movie 6 did movie 9 better to me. Just with the way that they handle it, which is weird because May's my favorite character, and Max is my least favorite character. So it's kind of funny that the movies are completely swapped. But yeah, already saw movie 6, so this movie didn't have much going for it, unfortunately. But like I said, that soundtrack saved it, and it wasn't a terrible movie. Like, so it's above 7. Number 2 on this list is movie 6, which I kind of explained in the number 3 spot why it's at number 2. Max's movie did a really good job. It did a really great job introducing Ash and the others into the movie scene with this new cast that they have. It didn't take any high risk though, which is why it didn't make the number 1 spot. But I guess they were trying to, dip our feet into the new cast first, and I guess that's why. But it did an overall really great job in, plot and the adventure aspect of it all. And finally, in number 1 spot, obviously, if you've done process of elimination, we've got movie 8, Lucario and the Mr. and Mew. Really great movie. Really great development for Ash, considering the fact that Ash is the oldest out of everyone in this cast. It's good to see that they can still develop him in ways. And this movie definitely doesn't hold back and actually gets a little dark when you stop to think about things and the emotional spots that it had. So, yeah, there you go. 1 through 4.
Bravo.
Okay. I think I have my list.
All right.
Go for it.
This was hard because honestly, I don't think any of I think in retrospect, I don't think any of Gen 3's films are what I would consider amazing. I think they're all either. It's actually a big fluctuation in quality. I've noticed. I'm gonna go in the same kind of direction Tyrone did. My fourth being the worst, and first being the best. I think my least favorite is actually this film. I probably would say movie 9 is my least favorite, and it's primarily due to the fact that this film is unfortunately really fucking redundant. And like Tyrone said, movie 6 did it better. So I don't necessarily. I feel like if you watch movie 6, you're probably watching the better film. So I'm not like you're not losing anything to watch movie by not watching movie 9. Next up, I would say my third is probably movie 7. I actually have come around on movie 7 way more than I thought I did. Movie 7 still has dumb shit in it, and it still has really dumb plot points, and I think the Rayquaza Deoxys thing is not the greatest setup, but it works way better, and it has elements like the whole Metal Gear Solid, like, survival aspect of it works better, and because it's not normally seen in a film, I get a kick out of that because not a lot of other Pokemon films do shit like that, so I enjoy it for that. Still flawed as hell, and I don't really care for the whole we gotta get this guy used to Pokemon again plotline. But at least it wasn't done like it wasn't done like 3 movies ago, I guess. Second best is movie 8. And people might be surprised why it's there.
Ooh.
Movie 8 is a good Ash film. But if you're a fan of the series like I am, you kind of get burnt out on this fucking Ash and Pikachu. I don't want to call it romance. It's not what it is. It's a relationship. And it's another one of those films where the villain of this film, it's just the Pokemon being a dickhead. Mew being the Pokemon in question. I also think this thing isn't tightly written in terms of its overall plot versus its characters. I think its characters are written better than its plot. I actually would say the best Gen 3 film is the 6th film. And it's not like by a huge margin either, but it's the most consistent. I don't really have any issues with Gen 6. I think that's the main reason why movie 6 is my favorite. It does not have any real problems with it. It's just okay. The biggest problem it has is that it's just okay and it never goes beyond being just okay. But being okay compared to a bunch of films that have inherent flaws in them works out. So, and it's not like I'm a huge Max fan either. That's the funny thing. So, yeah, I think those are my 4. So Richie, go for it.
All right. Richie, go ahead.
Oh, well, that caught me off by surprise. I was actually kind of debating about what the last one would be, but I'm confident this one. All right, so I guess for the last one, I guess I'll just put the Manaphy movie. And again, I don't really have anything against the idea of the movie, but I feel like it's been kind of, rehashed, kind of almost a lot at this point. And not that it's not a bad idea, but I feel like if they're going to do the same idea again, I feel like that maybe they should have been a little more unique and interesting about it. So that's why, and other reasons I stated before. So that's number 4. Number 3. I rank you for this one, but my number 3 is the Jirachi movie, and I say that because, again, I'm not saying that it's bad, because like I know sometimes when people rank movies lower, they tend to like think that, oh, this is a bad movie for this and that reason. But I don't know. It's tough to say. Like, I guess I just have better viewing experiences with other movies, the other 2 movies, than I did with this one. I mean, I guess it was nice to see the plot of little kid and cute mythical Pokemon that has to go away eventually, and the crew has to risk their lives just to kind of like, quote lives, and then they end up saving it because of someone else's greedy ambitions. But for this one, I felt like the Jirachi aspect to me um, it didn't really hold up a lot, just because again familiarities with the whole idea behind it. And I kind of didn't like how Groudon was kind of treated this one. Like, I felt like even if a regular Groudon was in here, I don't think it would change my opinion about the movie a whole lot. Um, and just kind of the way that they handled, if you guys remember, what's his face, Butler? Yeah,
Yeah.
Butler. I kind of didn't like how they handled him, because I thought he would be fascinating, but like, you know, I think they just kind of screwed up his development a little bit, and other a few other issues, but maybe I'll talk about that again someday. So that's number three. Um, Number two is Deoxys, um, and I actually thought, at first I kind of gave this movie shit, but I actually kind of went back to watch it because I thought maybe I was a little bit unfair to it. And I kind of was, although some of my main issues from that review still stand, but it's somewhat decent. Like, it's a decent enough movie for me to sit on. I mean, not sit on, but like sit and watch, and not just contemplate about watching another movie, or just not watching it at all. I thought the characters were pretty cool. And the whole thing with Tori was a little bit unique, because I don't think it was something we'd never seen before, and I thought that the way that they did was a good job. Although I thought the CG though was a little bit not bad, but it definitely could have been a lot better. And this is one of those movies where I definitely think it needed some of that emotional connection from movie night to make it a little bit better, and maybe just for my reaction per se. Um, but 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 basically, in conclusion, that's why I ranked it number two, because I decided to give it a chance, and it kind of turned out a little bit well for me the second time, but not by much. But it's enough for me to rank it above the other two movies. And obviously, with that is the Lucario movie. Um, this was definitely one of my favorites because of the whole Lucario and Aaron aspect of the plot. Um, though I don't have too much of an opinion about how they could have handled as far as him talking to Aaron at the end of the movie, because I know you guys were kind of talking about it. But regardless, I think they did a good job of it. I I feel like if it wasn't for a certain film in particular, I probably would have ranked this movie as the best, but we'll keep that for another day. I just thought it was kind of unique in the sense of that plot, although people would say, "Oh, it's Ash and Pikachu again," but I mean, I guess you could say that, but it's by like a little bit. So, anyways, ambitious. It was executed pretty well. Uh, the only thing I didn't like about it was kind of, I guess, what Tyrone said near the beginning about the Tree of Life kind of gimmick. I thought that maybe could have been been much of a gimmick as it was, and maybe Mew. I don't understand how Mew went from what it was in movie one in terms of strength to just being puny as it is in movie 8 if you look at it. But other than that, those were just little nitpicks I have. So overall, this was my number one movie because I definitely had a better viewing experience with it. I really liked the whole Lucario and Sir Aaron aspect of the plot, and it was kind of nice to see the Reggies. So that's it.
I am very surprised. 8 was a consistent up top two contender like I thought it would be. I'm very surprised the uptick for 7. I actually did. I thought I would be the only one that would rank it anything above last, and Richie fucking beat me. I am baffled. That's actually a movie I highly expect in the next 10 years. I might like more in the decade than I do now.
Oh no, because I thought I gave it because I actually went back to watch the video for a little bit, and I just kind of noticed how, at least during my talking parts, I just thought maybe I was a little bit not necessarily unfair, but like I felt like I didn't give it much of it as a chance to it. So I went back to go watch it, and it kind of opened my eyes a little bit on a few other things. But as I just said,
It's the flawed.
Yeah, the flaw, but it doesn't change it by much. It was just a better time viewing it.
Yeah, I would say in total, all of Gen 3's films are pretty closely ranked together for me. For the most part, I'm just kind of surprised we all had pretty substantial variations in our picks. Like movie 7 was last in Tyrone's, it was second to last in mine, and it got all the way up to second best for Richie's. Whereas like movie 9 was like bottom tier, I think, consistently. And movie 6 fluctuated a bit too.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting game. Now, originally I was planning for us to rank the first 9 films in order, but if we're doing that, we don't need to give any fucking descriptions why, because we've already given descriptions for all these films anyway.
Would it make sense to just do a 10? Because the
the reason why
that's a lot.
It's already a lot.
Yeah, but it's not 10 is common.
Well, that because 10 is the first Dominant Pro film, and I don't want to. That's a new generation. I always try to do it every time we finish the generation.
I mean, I guess, but just considering the throwback that they did,
I think we should do like a big
movie.
one for when they're all over.
So we'll wait, because I remember we did do it for Gen 1 and Gen 2, but maybe we'll wait. Move going forward and wait until.
Well, we did that for Gen 1 and Gen 2 because that's Ash, Misty, and Brock.
Okay.
The whole time. So that's the end of the original series.
So the way we're going to do it moving forward is that at the very end of us catching up to the current films out, we'll do a big one for all the films. But for now, we'll do the whole, at the end of a generation, rank that generation's films. And next time we will we already have the new voice cast, but we'll also have a new character. We'll have Dawn, and we have her. What is that? Oh, that's 4 films. We have her for 4 films.
Yeah.
That's Darkrai, Giratina / Shaman, RCS, and Zoroark's film.
Bravo.
Jesus, I'm gonna warn you in advance. You on this podcast, I don't know about Richie, but I know at least me and Tyrone are not fans of Dawn. And
I think we have a video scheduled for that before we do the movie.
I'm kind of indifferent about Dawn.
Okay, I didn't know where Richie stood. So you think we should do that video with Paulie and them before we do?
I think, strategically that would be great, because that would get people ready for what we're getting into. Yeah, that way it's not just randomly, why do they hate Dawn so damn much?
Yeah, because... Also that, and because this is also a new movie style, which I won't get too much into it. For those who want to know, the first 3 Dominant Pro films are actually canonically connected. I don't think the Zoroark film is. I think the Zoroark film is the only standoff one film. But the other 3 films, the Giratina, the Darkrai, and the Arceus film, are all canonically connected. Doesn't do the movies any favors, I'll tell you that in advance, but to be fair, I haven't rewatched Dominant Pro's films since I think I've only seen Dominant Pro's films once. And I only own the DVD for Zoroark's film. I don't even think I own the Dominant Pro DVDs. Rewatching them... No, I rewatched Darkrai. I'm lying. I rewatched Darkrai 2 years ago. I think Darkrai was the best one. I think because I originally tried to do the whole watching all the movies for the 20th anniversary, and I only got 3 or 4 films in. Darkrai, from what I remember, was the best film of the 3 trilogy films, but we'll get to it when we get to it.
Sounds about right.
I think the next video we're gonna try to do is the Dawn video, which I think will probably be probably me, Tyrone, Richie, and Paulie. Is that a fair grouping?
Yeah.
Because I don't think TSS...
One favors Dawn, one indifferent to Dawn, and the other 2 don't like her.
Yeah, because unless... Well, who else likes Dawn?
I thought TSS hated Dawn.
In our group of people.
I don't know. I think TSS is indifferent to Dawn as well. I don't think he hates her, but I don't think he's like a big fan of her.
I think we'll probably.
I think TSS likes Kasumi, aka Misty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's almost some nostalgia shit because people don't know what good characters are. That's a personal opinion though. So probably the next video we'll do will probably be us three plus Polly, and we'll have the Dawn conversation. Be prepared. From what I remember Polly mentioning on the PokéPod, it may turn into an Iris versus Dawn video.
Oh goodness.
So prepare yourselves. If it does, I might split it into 2 parts. We'll see what happens. So the next video will be that, and then we'll do movie 9. What the fuck what is Darkrai's film called? It's
Pokemon movie 10 is Rise of Darkrai.
Rise of Darkrai.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the subtitle of the subtitle. So that's what we'll do next time. Those are the Gen 3 films. We may now have another generation. We got, what is that? 4 more gens to go? 4, 5, 6, and 7. Mm-hmm. Even though 7th gens is not really 7th gen because of how 7 gen conducts itself.
Yeah.
But
let's put it
technically, although we're gonna have words to say in 7 gens films.
Oh boy.
Right.
I would say this is where things get interesting. I don't know if you call it that. I think things get kind of bad for a while because I did. So for those who don't know, Gen 4 was the gen I really got burnt out on Pokemon in general. So I already wasn't really super enjoying the anime, nor the games, nor the fucking film. So
I have a different position.
So if you guys thought I was being too nice in some of the Gen 3 stuff, don't worry. Probably gonna get really fucking negative for the next.
Oh, wait till Gen 4. Shit.
Yeah, for the next what was that 4? Well, maybe 2 to 3 films. I'll say that. I don't remember hating the Zoroark film either. We'll see. Anyways, I'm rambling on. Thanks, Richie, for being here.
No problem.
Thank you, Taro. Appreciate it.
Certainly.
And next time we're gonna hear a bunch of us argue like nerds over 2 female fictional characters for probably like over an hour. So I look forward to that. And then afterwards, we're gonna rant and rave about another animated film for another 2 and so hours. So now 2019 starting off on positivity, y'all.
Yep.
Oh God.
Anywho, with all that being said, this has been the Insane Game Freak. Life's a game, play to win. Also, Tyrone and Richie channels will be in the description, so go subscribe to them. Which also links to their Twitters and shit too. So go subscribe to them and follow them on Twitter. Anyways, life's a game, play to win, and I will catch you guys later. Holy shit. We're done with Gen 3! Woo! Y'all sound so excited.